we definitely enjoyed some good path while we were in Paxton. The best thing about staying at the hostel though was seeing all of the other hikers, because out on trail we really haven't run into any. And so it was just really nice to sit around and talk to people about the things that we've been going through for the past few hundred miles. And some folks were sitting around picking and playing music, and I don't know, it was just a really good time and kind of revived my spirit for the through hike. Getting to see like, hey, there are other people out here, you know, there are other people going through the same thing.
Her food problems.
Wah, wah, wah.
So the hiker counter here at the Toaster House has a lot of stuff. So trying to do a little organization, but in the search through the counter there is a 10-pound bag of peanut butter. Have you ever shaved your head in the mirror of a toaster before?
I've not.
It's only appropriate since we're at the Toaster House, I reckon. Are you serious, Ryan? Is it snowing? Oh, that hurts! God almighty. Well, we were gonna leave today until it started snowing. So here's my little bunk at the Toaster House, and I just noticed, I looked up and felt that watch feeling in the knot in the wood. Somebody's peeking in at me.
Well, so far this morning, it hasn't warmed up as much as I'd like it to. I think it's probably in the upper 50s, but this wind will just cut you like a knife. But I still managed to do 10 miles by 11 a.m. and should have 12 by noon, so that's not too shabby, especially since I'm trying to get definitely 25 or better today. This stretch from Pytown to Grants will either be all dirt or paved roads. So even though, you know, I can do some decent miles and even not hike a little bit, because it's not like treacherous terrain, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. But even still, the roads are just a little bit harder on the joints. Especially I have found if it's like one specific texture over and over under my feet, that it can really start to wear on them, especially when it's a hard surface like hard packed dirt and you know, especially pavement. So I try to, you know, get over to the sides and walk on the grass and sand a little bit, even though it's a little bit harder to walk on sand, and then get back on the hard road and kind of switch it up. I've found that that tends to help me a little bit when I'm on road walks. I have to say though, even though Pytown is just a little dot on the map, I really enjoyed my stay there. And when I first rolled up at the Toaster House, I was kind of like, what in the world is this? You know, there are these toasters all outside on the fence, and Nita, the trail angel who actually owns the house, it's a house that she raised her children in and she lived in for a long time. She's since moved down the road and just kind of left that house for hikers only. But anyway, she checks in on everybody and does a little road tour of Pytown and points out some of the highlights and stuff. She says she doesn't even remember how the house got the name the Toaster House, and then next thing she knows, the toasters just started appearing. So now she's told hikers, you know, if you get home and one day your toaster craps out, just remember me, and you know, you can send a toaster to the Toaster House and your name and date you were there, and I'll be happy to decorate with it. So but Nita has been doing trail magic and allowing people to stay with her since the early 80s. She says she's been there since the spring of 81, and about then is when she noticed hikers coming through. And she said the first time somebody called her a trail angel, she was like, well, what in the world is that? And then she also said she didn't know what a cougar was the first time she was called that either. And I guess folks just would see her around town, you know, giving these young, fit men rides around. And helping them out and stuff. So I guess at first, when folks weren't quite sure what was going on, you know, she got called several names other than just Trail Angel. But the post office just closed in Pie Town, and she allows folks to receive packages, it's UPS only, but at the Toaster House. And so since there is no post office anymore and the general store is a little bit down the highway, it really is a convenience to have a place to stay, bathe, do laundry, and just everything you need right there on trail.
Desert problems. This is why you don't lay down on your lunch break in the desert. Woo! Woo! So the goal for the day was like 25 miles, and we ended up doing like 30.2, I believe. So pretty proud of us, and finally about to set up camp now in a cow pasture. First 30-mile day.
First 30-mile day.
Woo! Well, there is ice in my tent again, but this time I slept with my sawyer. Lessons learned. These cows are something else, because when they see a truck, boy, they'll run to it because they know, like, hey, that's my food, and they'll run in front of it and nearly get hit. But let a human walk towards them, and they act like I'm just coming to get them. Good morning. Can you share your water? Heck yes, flowing out of the pipe. Alrighty. Once I step foot onto this highway, I won't come off of it again until I'm in Grants, which is like a little under 45 miles. So here we go. I'm kind of glad to be walking on pavement now, or at least, you know, next to pavement, because yesterday the gravel roads we were on for that 30+ mile stretch, there was so much traffic coming through. I kept waiting for a piece of gravel to be thrown up and like knock us out or knock a tooth out or something like that. And so now on the pavement, don't have to worry about that. I reckon the only thing I really have to worry about is somebody throwing their pee bottle out the window at me. Peekaboo. I just saw a critter get hit on the road by a big old truck. And I heard it. It's terrible. It's like a prairie dog or a squirrel, I couldn't tell. There were several of them in the road and the others ran, and that one just sat there. And saw the man tap the brakes, but it wasn't fast enough. There's nothing he can do really, but I just hope it's actually dead when I get up here. I mean, I know this stuff happens all the time, right? But, you know, it's one thing to see roadkill and it's another thing to see it happen. Just sad. Oh, there it is. I'll spare you the up close. Well, I reckon the Injinji running socks that are thin are not as durable as Darn Toughs, but they lasted like 300 miles or so.
In the last couple of days since I've been road walking, I have seen a ton of litter, and I couldn't have physically carried all of it with me, but these things fire me up more than anything. And maybe that's just that programming that I received when I was in elementary school, and you know, seeing the turtles trying to like live and their growth is restricted because they've crawled through them or whatever. And the frustrating thing is that some people even cut them up before they ditch them on the side of the road. I guess that's their halfway effort, but yeah, it's always worse the closer you get to town. So here in this last couple mile stretch, I've picked up several of these, but yeah, I don't know why. It's just so frustrating. Nature always prevails.
18 miles of road walk down.
I mean, the view from the road isn't terrible.
Great.
We had thought about, toyed with the idea of just making it like a really long day, like 40 plus miles, and not hiking into Grants, because you walk into there and they've got like several motels and stuff. But we ended up setting up at a campground along the highway because we really just didn't want to sleep like, you know, right on the side of the highway. So we set up at that campground and got some wonderful trail magic. A fella named JR fixed us dinner and had water, and there at the campsite there were trash cans and pit toilets, and so it ended up being a way better night than we had anticipated. Just was really, really happy to get all the wonderful trail magic last night and had such a good time. And I don't know, I'm just so thankful for folks who are just generous for no reason, no benefit to them, just to be kind.